All right, so today we're diving deep into the world of Pavel Durov.
Oh, yeah, this guy.
I think a lot of people probably know him as like the Russian Mark Zuckerberg,
Right, right.
but I think we'll see that there's a lot more to him than that.
Definitely. Much more to unpack.
We've got a whole bunch of sources here, articles, biographical stuff, even some financial news.
That's right.
Really trying to get like a complete picture.
The whole picture.
So basically, who is this guy? Like, what makes him tick?
Yeah.
How do you go from, building this huge social media platform to, like, exile,
Yeah.
cryptocurrency, legal battles?
A fascinating story, for sure.
So let's go back to the beginning.
Okay.
2006, right?
Yeah, 2006.
Durov's fresh out of university, launches VeChain in St. Petersburg.
Right.
Very similar to Facebook, obviously, at the time.
I mean, it was definitely inspired by Facebook.
For sure, for sure.
But it had its own Russian flavor, you could say.
Right, right.
Like, one of the things that made VK really popular was file sharing.
Interesting.
And at the time, a lot of people in Russia were using it to share like pirated content, movies, music.
Oh, wow.
So it really tapped into like the digital culture there in a way that Facebook didn't.
Yeah, it definitely resonated.
Oh, yeah.
And it exploded in popularity, right? Like over 100 million users.
Massive, massive growth.
But even early on, you see like these flashes of Durov's kind of defiant personality.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's this story from 2011.
Oh, yeah.
Police show up at his apartment.
Right.
They're demanding he take down pages of opposition politicians.
Uh-huh.
And instead of complying, he posts this picture of a dog.
Yeah, the dog in the hoodie.
Like sticking its tongue out.
It became iconic.
Basically just mocking the whole situation.
Basically.
Like, the police waited for an hour and just left.
Yeah, they were powerless.
It was like this instant folk hero moment, right?
Oh, yeah, he became a symbol of resistance.
It just shows like he's not afraid to stand up to authority.
No, definitely not.
And then 2012.
Yeah.
This is when Mail.ru, the Russian internet giant, tries to buy VK.
Right, a major power play.
And Durov's response is incredible.
Oh, it's legendary.
He posts a photo of himself giving the middle finger.
Just like, nope, not interested.
Doesn't want anything to do with it, especially because of the ties to the Kremlin.
Right, he was already wary of the government's influence.
Yeah, that's clear.
Definitely.
But things really come to a head in 2014.
Uh-huh.
During the Ukrainian protests,
Yeah.
Durov refuses to hand over user data of Ukrainian protesters to the Russian authorities.
Big moment.
Huge moment.
Absolutely.
He also refuses to block Alexei Navalny's page on VK.
Right, the opposition leader.
Even though, the government is putting immense pressure on him.
Oh, yeah, the pressure was intense.
And he argued, publicly, that complying would violate VK's privacy policy.
Right.
And Russian law.
A principled stand.
It was like this huge turning point, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Like he was directly challenging the government. It was a risky move.
Very risky.
And ultimately, it cost him his company.
Yeah, within weeks, he was ousted from VK.
Wow.
He claimed that the company had been basically taken over by Putin allies.
So he goes into exile.
Right.
Makes this, very strong statement about Russia being incompatible with internet business.
Yeah, powerful words.
So must have been devastating, right?
You would think so.
Losing the company that you're built from scratch?
Yeah, but Durov, he's not one to give up.
No, he's not.
He had already launched Telegram in 2013.
Right.
And that became his new focus.
It's fascinating how, his experience with VK kind of directly shaped Telegram.
Oh, yeah, you can see the connection.
Encryption and privacy became the core values, right?
Absolutely. He was determined to build a platform free from government interference.
And to achieve that, he took some pretty extreme steps.
Yeah, some might say extreme, but he saw it as necessary.
He gets citizenship in St. Kitts and Nevis.
Right, a small Caribbean nation known for its privacy laws.
Not just a random choice, right?
No, he was strategically putting himself and Telegram outside the jurisdiction of any single country.
Wow.
Making it much harder for any government to control or censor the platform.
Really thought this through.
Oh, yeah.
And he also moved a ton of money, like $300 million, into Swiss bank accounts.
Shielding himself and his resources.
Building a fortress.
That's one way to put it.
Legally, financially, to protect Telegram.
Yeah, he was all in.
And that commitment, really resonated with users, especially people living under, repressive regimes.
Absolutely. Telegram became a haven for journalists, activists, anyone concerned about online surveillance.
Yeah, I could see why.
The level of security and privacy it offered was, unheard of in other messaging apps.
So it attracted millions of users, right?
Worldwide, it was exploding.
And that brought him into conflict with governments again.
Here we go again.
This time, on a global scale. 2018. Russia tries to block Telegram entirely.
Yeah, a major escalation.
They claimed they needed access to the encryption keys.
For national security, of course.
But Durov refused, right?
Of course, he argued that providing those keys would compromise the privacy of all Telegram users.
He was willing to, like, go up against a superpower.
He didn't back down.
To protect his creation.
And his principles.
The ban lasted for 2 years.
It was a real test of his commitment.
It was.
And his resilience.
But he wasn't just focused on messaging.
No, he had bigger ambitions.
He wanted to get into cryptocurrency.
Right, he wanted to disrupt the whole financial system.
So in 2018, he announces the Gram cryptocurrency and the TON platform.
This was a huge deal.
He envisioned it as like this decentralized financial ecosystem.
Integrated with Telegram.
Incredibly ambitious project.
It really was.
He raised almost $2 billion from investors.
That shows you the level of confidence people had in him.
Yeah, wild.
But this venture also landed him in trouble.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, with regulators.
SEC, the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission.
Right, they stepped in.
They argued that the Gram tokens were unregistered securities.
Big problem.
On legal battle ensues.
Yeah, it dragged on for a while.
And in the end, Durov is forced to abandon the project.
2020, the end of time.
A major setback.
For sure.
But even with this failure, Durov had become a billionaire.
He's got a knack for business, even amidst all the controversy.
He's definitely a complex figure.
Oh, absolutely.
Someone who seems to thrive on pushing boundaries.
Yeah, and challenging the status quo.
But he's also shown a more human side.
Like when?
Remember during the COVID-19 pandemic?
Yeah.
He donated a bunch of Bitcoin?
Right, to a crowdfunding campaign in Russia.
It was a gesture that, surprised a lot of people.
It showed a different side of him.
It did.
A more compassionate side.
So we've seen him as a coding prodigy.
Uh-huh.
A defiant entrepreneur.
Definitely.
A privacy champion.
Absolutely.
And now a philanthropist.
And then 2024 hits, he gets arrested in France.
This marks a whole new chapter, right?
A dark chapter.
He's accused of serious crime.
Facilitating terrorism, drug trafficking, fraud.
Wow.
All allegedly linked to activities on Telegram.
These are very serious charges.
The stakes are higher than ever.
Yeah, it really raises questions about the responsibility of platforms like Telegram, right?
Absolutely. The whole issue of content moderation.
Like, how do you prevent criminal activity?
It's a tough balance.
It is.
Freedom versus security.
So he's a dike.
Placed under supervised release.
Forced to post a huge bail.
The future of Telegram hanging in the balance.
A crazy situation.
Yeah, it really is.
And the outcome of this case could have massive repercussions.
Not just for him.
For online freedom and privacy.
Absolutely. This is where we'll pick up in the next part of our deep dive.
Can't wait to get into it.
It's going to be a wild ride.
All right, stay tuned.
We'll be right back.
After the break.
Don't go anywhere.
So, yeah, Durov is facing these serious charges in France.
Uh-huh.
It's pretty wild to think about,
Yeah, definitely a turning point.
Like, what does this mean for him, for Telegram, for the millions of people who use it,
Right, it's a big question mark.
It is.
I mean, to try to understand what might happen, I think it helps to kind of look back at how Durov has acted in the past.
Yeah, good point.
He's never been one to back down from a fight.
No, definitely not.
Especially when it comes to defending his principles.
Like that dog in a hoodie incident, right?
Exactly.
Refusing to cooperate with Russian authorities.
He's consistently shown that he's willing to stand his ground.
Yeah.
Even against, really powerful adversaries.
He's a tough guy.
He is.
And also, don't forget how resourceful he is.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Like getting citizenship in St. Kitts and Nevis.
Right.
Moving all that money to Switzerland.
He's always thinking ahead.
Yeah.
Strategizing, finding ways to overcome obstacles.
So knowing all that, how do you see this French legal battle playing out?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is.
It's hard to say for sure.
Yeah.
Durov is a complex guy,
Yeah.
He's driven by this mix of idealism and pragmatism, I think.
Right.
He's fiercely protective of user privacy,
Yeah.
but he also understands that, he needs to operate within the law.
So he's walking a tightrope.
He is.
Trying to balance, his commitment to online freedom.
Right.
With the reality of, a world that's increasingly focused on security and control.
Exactly. It's a tough spot to be in.
Yeah.
And this case could really force him to make some very difficult choices.
Like what kind of choices?
Well, does he prioritize the absolute privacy of Telegram users?
Okay.
Even if it means, potentially risking the platform's future?
Right.
Or does he find a way to accommodate some of the French government's demands?
I see.
Without, completely compromising his core values?
It's a tough one. There are no easy answers.
No.
But whatever he decides, it's going to have ripple effects throughout the tech world.
Oh, absolutely.
That's true.
This case could set a precedent
Yeah.
for how governments around the world approach the regulation of encrypted messaging services.
Right, it's like a test case.
It is. Everyone's watching to see what
It's
happens.
a big deal.
It is.
It raises this, like, fundamental question.
What's that?
Like, can we have both privacy and security in the digital age?
Right. That's the age-old question.
Yeah.
Are those goals fundamentally incompatible?
It's a debate that's been going on forever, it seems like.
Yeah, and it's only getting more urgent
Right.
as technology advances.
That technology advances.
And the lines between our online and offline lives continue to blur.
Totally.
So figuring out how to strike that balance,
Yeah,
that's going to be one of the biggest challenges of this century.
I think you're right.
I think so.
And Durov's story, like, in a way, it's kind of a microcosm of that larger struggle.
In what way?
Well, he's a symbol of the power of technology, right, to empower individuals.
Yeah.
But he's also a reminder of, how that power can be misused.
Or suppressed.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's a double-edged sword.
It is.
And as we kind of move through this increasingly complex digital landscape,
Yeah.
It's important that we have these conversations
Absolutely.
about these issues.
We need to talk about it.
We have to think about the trade-offs.
Right. The risks, the benefits.
And ultimately decide what kind of online world we want to create.
Yeah. What kind of future do we want?
Exactly.
What's up?
So Durov's journey has been marked by, these clashes, right? This refusal to, like, conform to expectations.
Yeah.
Do you think that same spirit, that defiance, will kind of guide him through this latest challenge?
I do. I really do.
You do?
Yeah. Durov is not someone who's easily intimidated.
No, he's not.
He's shown time and time again that he's willing to fight for what he believes in.
Yeah.
Even when the odds are stacked against him.
It's part of who he is.
It is. It's in his DNA.
But this time, it feels different,
How so?
The stakes are higher.
Yeah, you could say that.
His freedom is on the line.
Right.
And so is the future of Telegram.
It's a lot to carry.
It is.
The outcome of this case could have really far-reaching implications.
Yeah.
Not just for Durov, not just for Telegram.
Right.
But for the future of online communication as a whole.
It's a big deal.
This could be a watershed moment, really.
It's a reminder that, the battles for privacy, for security, for freedom of expression,
Yeah.
they're not over.
Not by a long shot.
They're evolving. They're getting more complex.
Who wants to?
And they're becoming more and more intertwined with our digital lives.
Absolutely. That's the reality we live in.
So as we kind of move forward,
Yeah.
we have to remember that these battles, they're not just about technology, right?
That's an important point.
They're about human rights.
Right.
They're about the kind of society we want to live in.
It's about our values.
We're shaping the future right now
Every single day.
with every decision we make.
With every click, every share, every post.
So Durov's story, for all of its twists and turns,
Yeah.
its triumphs and tribulations,
The ups and downs.
it forces us to confront these really fundamental questions.
It does.
It challenges us to think critically.
About the role of technology in our lives.
Yeah.
To demand transparency and accountability.
From those in power.
Absolutely.
And maybe most importantly,
Yeah.
it reminds us that the fight for online freedom,
Uh-huh.
it's a fight worth having.
It is. It's a fight for our future.
Okay, so we've gone deep, right, into the story of Pavel Durov.
Yeah, this guy, huh?
From coding whiz kid to exiled entrepreneur to privacy advocate to cryptocurrency pioneer.
And now facing some pretty serious legal trouble in France.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Definitely.
It's a story that really highlights some of the defining aspects of, our digital age.
Like what?
Well, like the meteoric rise of technology,
Uh-huh.
the tension between innovation and regulation,
Right.
and this constant battle for control of information,
The battle for online freedom.
Exactly.
It's a story that keeps unfolding.
It does, and it leaves us with a lot to think about.
Oh, yeah. Lots to ponder.
Like, what does Durov's story tell us about the future of the internet?
That's a good question.
Is it like a battleground where our freedoms are constantly under threat?
Right.
Or can it be a space where privacy and security can coexist?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is.
I don't think there's an easy answer.
Yeah.
I mean, Durov's journey shows us just how complex this all is,
Right.
The push and pull, the contradiction.
It's messy. On the one hand, we have these incredible tools for communication, for connection, for accessing information.
Right. The potential is huge.
But those same tools could be used for surveillance, for control, for manipulation.
It's a double-edged sword, for sure.
It is.
And it's up to us, as individuals and as a society to
Yeah.
decide how we use it.
To decide what kind of future we want.
Exactly.
So do we prioritize security above all else? even if it means sacrificing privacy.
Tough choice.
It is.
Or do we fight to protect our freedoms, even if it means accepting some level of risk?
Durov has definitely made his stance clear.
He has, hasn't he?
He's chosen privacy, he's chosen freedom, he's chosen to, push the boundaries.
He's not afraid to take risks.
He's not, and it hasn't been easy for him.
No, not at all.
Exile, financial setbacks, legal battles, he's faced it all.
He's been through the ringer.
But he's also achieved some pretty amazing things.
He has.
He's built platforms that empower millions of people.
Right.
He's challenged the authority of governments.
Uh-huh.
And he's sparked this, global conversation about online freedom.
He's definitely made his mark.
He has, and his legacy is, it's still being written.
It is. Who knows what's next for him?
Yeah, it's hard to say.
But regardless of what happens with his current legal situation,
right,
his impact on the tech world, it's undeniable.
He's changed the game.
He has. He's a reminder that innovation often comes at a cost.
Yeah.
That challenging the status quo can be risky.
It can.
But that the pursuit of a more open, more connected, more free internet, that's a fight worth having.
It is.
And that's something we should all think about,
As we kind of navigate this digital age.
What are we willing to fight for?
Yeah, what compromises are we willing to make?
What kind of online world do we want to create?
For ourselves and for, future generations.
Those are big questions.
They are.
And there are no easy answers.
But Durov's story shows us that that the choices we make today, they shape the digital landscape of tomorrow.
We have the power to shape the future.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the world of Pavel Durov.
It's been quite a journey.
It has.
Full of twists and turns.
We want to leave you with this final thought.
Okay, hit us with it.
In this ever-changing digital age, where do you stand on the balance between innovation, privacy, and security?
That's a good one to leave them with.
And how will you contribute to shaping the future of the internet?
Something to think about.
It is.
Definitely.
Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
We'll see you next time.